Hello, I'm Mike Parrish, Agriculture Extension Agent in Dinwiddie County, and I'm for the soil because it's the foundation to everything in agriculture.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of For the Soil, a Conversation. I'm your host, Jeff Ishii, and joining me, Eric Benfelt with Virginia Cooperative Extension Community Viability, and Mary Sketch Bryant with the Virginia Soil Health Coalition. We'll get to our podcast in just a moment, but briefly, I wanted to remind everyone about the upcoming conference, the Virginia Farm to Table Conference. That will be on Thursday and Friday, December 5th and 6th in Weir's Cave, Virginia. That will be at the Blue Ridge Community College. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of networking going on. People in the food industry, farmers, the Virginia Farm to Table Conference, and you can pre-register and get all the information at the Facebook page, Virginia Farm to Table. That's the Facebook page, Virginia Farm to Table, or of course at our website, forthesoil.org. We have a returning guest today. He is Nate Sloan with Bloom Restaurant in Roanoke, Virginia. He is an executive chef. He was born and raised on a farm in Virginia, has a lot of knowledge about healthy foods, healthy soils. Eric, would you reintroduce our special guest?
Yes, we're very pleased to have Nate with us, and he's really had an impact in the Roanoke region and across the state. Nate, if you could speak a little bit more about your vision and mission for food and community and farming.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me back. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you all again for what you do for our entire community and world. So I think our vision here at Bloom and within myself is kind of constantly evolving and growing. I do think getting that food awareness to both guests and the public and creating stronger networks of farm relationships from farm to fork, as they say these days, is a growing driving factor for us. Creating more opportunities for farmers to have sustainable livings and live off the land in the way that they deem appropriate and can feed their families to the way that they view as necessary is kind of a goal of ours, as well as kind of feeding our guests the best possible ingredients and products we can offer them. So whatever we can do to be the conduit of flavor and the conduit of experience that we can kind of create here in our community is a driving force of ours.
Nate, on being that conduit, we talked some in the first episode about the sourcing of local food, and would just be interested more, are there, speaking of soil health and sustainability of the land, are there certain practices you look for? Like, what are you looking for when you connect with a producer?
Yeah. So over the years, different certifications have come about, whether it's certified naturally grown, certified organic, natural. I think first and foremost, we like to know that it's grown sustainably and ethically, whether it's be it animal or produce, and especially animal welfare. That's really important for us. For any type of protein that we're offering, we want to make sure it's coming from the right sources and that it's raised in a healthy way. And then in terms of produce side of the world, we want to make sure that as minimal intervention as possible, be it our wines or be it our tomatoes. Of course, we do live in an area, we have quite a bit of humidity and pest problems, and at times, in order to save crop, farmers have to do a couple different things. But ideally, they're done in an organic and a natural method that does not damage both our soil and ourselves. So we try to source local first and as organic as possible, Nate, because ultimately it's best for us all.
Nate, I'd like to go back to the previous episode that you were with us, and for our listeners, if you did not hear that, just go back to the previous episode as part one with Nate Sloan of the Bloom Restaurant in Roanoke. And in that episode, Nate, you talked about growing up on a Virginia farm. Does that give you a unique perspective as far as being a restaurant owner and executive chef? Can you kind of talk about, are there a lot of chefs out there who have a background in agriculture?
That's a great question. I can't speak on behalf of the general whole. I think as chefs mature and the further they go down this rabbit hole of food and quality of food, ideally they start to become farmers or gardeners in their own right, whether it's just trips to the farmers market or backyard gardening or even restaurant farms, which is kind of fortunately becoming a trend for especially more established restaurants or chefs that have a bit more tenure and have the capacity to create farms of their own. John Shields being one of them, coming out of Chicago. He was down here in our area for a while, and now he's got a farm right outside of Chicago, which is pretty incredible. But, in terms of the general whole, I don't know if there is an average. I would say the more experience you have with the farm and being in tune with agriculture in general will create more of an awareness and quality. But I hope that we all do to some extent, for sure, because it's important. And at the end of the day, it's what we're putting on a plate.
And Nate, I know through the years that you've also been instrumental in trying to stamp out and take out hunger and address food access and food insecurity. And I know you have an upcoming event where it'll benefit the local environmental agriculture project. And can you talk a little bit more about how you try to address and make sure everyone in the community has food?
Yeah, food equality and deserts and topics of that notion are really important to us. And every month we do a roundup charity where we incorporate a line into our guest checks. Our point of sale system has created that opportunity for us, and we take advantage of it by offering it to our guests. So folks can contribute as little or as much as they want with each dining experience, and it creates that awareness at the table. And whether it's we're raising money for LEAP or we're raising money for even the Boys and Girls Club is our charity this month. We just really try to source and or not source rather, but try to fund and support local organizations that really impact our community for the best for everyone's welfare. And anything that we can do to give back is what we're always striving to do, because without our community behind us, we wouldn't be here. And so we want to just continue to kind of reciprocate that general welfare forward.
And Nate, going back to kind of that sourcing piece, the local sourcing, you say you're not farm to table, but more local sourcing I'm sure has its challenges as you think of versus other sourcing methods where you're going to be getting your lettuce every day that you need. How have you do you face any challenges, and how do you adapt to that within the business, within your menu, and what that looks like?
Of course, yeah. We're fortunate now. Our farming community has grown quite a bit over since I've been part of it, the last 15 years. And so we do have more opportunities now and more resources available to us to source the majority of our products locally. And I think for that, we give a lot of thanks. And so we can source various ingredients from various farms. Ideally, there's not a ton of redundancy, so we can I try to remind a lot of my chefs here that when we're sourcing and we're ordering, try to spread the love, as we say. So we get our lettuces from here, we get our carrots from here, our pork comes from here, and that way we can really distribute the wealth amongst the families and the farms. And I do kind of want to come back to that. We don't claim to be farm table just because I feel like that term has become greenwashed. And, at the end of the day, if you're not serving local food and you're serving contemporary food, then I just don't really see the point. So we just want to give back to our farms and try to put on the plate the best ingredients we can.
We're talking today with Nate Sloan, owner and executive chef at Bloom Restaurant in Roanoke, Virginia. And Nate, I want to go back to you mentioned farmers markets a few minutes ago. And of course, Roanoke has a fabulous farmers market. I can picture you or maybe your staff shopping at that market on a fairly regular basis. But for our average consumer at a farmer's market, you were encouraging the consumers to communicate with the grower, with the farmer. What questions should they ask?
I think that depends on what they're looking for. What means the most to them. Are they more focused on local, or are they more focused on organic? Are they more focused on nutritional value? Or are they more focused on certain recipes? And I think what a lot of folks don't kind of are aware of is that a lot can be done with a little bit of communication. And I think that goes across all fronts, but specifically in the farming world, if you are interested in something or you're passionate about something or you're even curious about something, most farmers, not all of us, some of us are a little bit more timid and a little bit more shy, but a lot of them out there are willing to have those conversations. And if you're curious about, oh, what is kohlrabi, or how can I use it? And why does it look so funny? Or why does it taste like broccoli? They're actually really willing to answer those questions. And so I think kind of find that inner child in you as a shopper at the farmer's market and to have that conversation with those farmers about what interests and excites you. And that in turn generally excites them. And then everyone walks away feeling a lot more wholesome.
And Nate, I know with wines, the idea of microclimates, geography, and aspect is really important. As a chef, what are you learning more about the importance of place and culture related to taste and flavor of vegetables and other foods?
That's a great question. Terroir, as they say in the wine world, is the utmost importance. And with that dinner that you mentioned earlier with Leap and Interquim Farm, we'll use them as an example. They are a grazing-based viticulture. So their sheep, their animals are all pastured in the vines. And so as a result, their terroir is completely unique, not only to their individual kind of biosphere, but also because of their animals and the love that they have for them and the good life that they live. And so once again, I think that flavor translates and it creates individual unique identities. And so in the world of Virginia wine, the Oxeye Cab Franc is going to taste different than the early Mountain Cab Franc, or the Linden Claret is going to taste different than the Jefferson Tannat. So it's a really great kind of experiment of flavor. And something that we really enjoyed too is doing side-by-side tastings and kind of seeing how the terroir and the soil structure and where it's grown, the climate it's grown in. Did these vines struggle? Were they irrigated? Are they in slate? Are they in limestone? It's a beautiful experience, and it's a great learning opportunity for everyone involved.
Do you have a favorite vegetable?
Oh, man.
I'm dying to ask you about eggplant because I tried an eggplant recipe last night and it was a total failure. But anyway.
Eggplant, yeah, it's not for everyone, but it's a great vegetable itself. That's a great question.
What's a vegetable that gets you excited, Nate? When you see a local farmer come through the kitchen door at the restaurant and he's got X in his arms, what is that?
I think in the summertime, of course, it's the classics. You can't beat a good heirloom tomato, however you cut it, slice it up. But, a vegetable that really excites me and I find unique is the Jerusalem artichoke or a sunchoke. I think it's a really beautiful crop that has a lot of opportunities and values to it. A bit invasive if it's grown out of hand, but it's a really cool thing.
Well, just a couple of minutes remaining in this podcast. And once again, we're talking with Nate Sloan, owner and executive chef at Bloom Restaurant. Tell us about the location of the restaurant and what first-time visitors would need to know.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you asking that. We are located in the Wasena neighborhood in Roanoke, right off the Roanoke River and Roanoke Greenway. The bridge is currently under construction right there. Soon enough, we're going to have a brand new, beautiful bridge to get you from downtown to here. But for now, you come in off 581, pop in there at Towers, and come down Main Street. We're right next to the historic Grandin neighborhood as well. So we are a beautiful little neighborhood here. We have been since 2019 part of a revitalization project, and we're happy to be here. And we're happy to be that catalyst of a restaurant on the corner here. And we're very grateful for the support of our community to keep us here and to keep us growing.
And your website is?
Yes, sir. It's www.bloomrke.com. That's BLOOMRKE.com.
Very well. Thank you so much for everything you do, and we really appreciate you taking the time as the owner and executive chef of a top-rated restaurant. I know you're a busy guy, so thank you very much for taking some time.
Well, I appreciate you all, and thanks for the opportunity to be here.
Nate Sloan with Bloom Restaurant in Roanoke, Virginia. Wanted to quickly remind you once again, hope I'm not being repetitive here, but if I am, oh well. The Virginia Farm to Table Conference is coming up on Thursday and Friday, December the 5th and 6th. And one thing I have not mentioned is that on Thursday evening, we're going to have a music jam. So bring your guitar, bring your harmonica, bring your fiddle, your banjo. We're going to have a lot of sing-along music and just a good old-fashioned music jam. That is actually part of the conference, the Virginia Farm to Table Conference on December 5th and 6th. It'll be in Weir's Cave, Virginia. You can register online at the website forthesoil.org, or of course you can get more information at the Facebook page, Virginia Farm to Table, December 5th and 6th in Weir's Cave, Virginia. For the Soil, a conversation is made possible with funding support from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation and the Agua Fund. Other partners include the USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service, Virginia Cooperative Extension, Virginia State University, Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation, and partners of the Virginia Soil Health Coalition. Views expressed on this podcast are those of each individual guest. To download a copy of this or any other episode, visit the website forthesoil.org. If you have a specific question about soil health, just call your local extension office, your local USDA service center, or a Soil and Water Conservation District office. Music used during today's program was provided courtesy of The Flip Charts, all rights reserved. For the Soil, a conversation is produced by On the Farm Radio in collaboration with Virginia Tech. I'm your host, Jeff Ishii.